Have you ever wondered why a simple string of code, something that sounds just as real as your password or a random combination on a lock, can be worth so much? Today, we're going to dive into the heart of Bitcoin and uncover its magic. Bitcoin is like a digital treasure chest. Imagine if you had a box where only you held the key, and once something went in, it couldn't come out. That's pretty secure, right? But what if that box could be shared with anyone in the world, and everyone could see everything inside it? And oh, by the way, this box is indestructible and no one can ever steal from you or change anything without your permission. Now, think about a regular bank. They keep track of who owns what money using physical ledgers. But Bitcoin doesn't need that. It uses something called a blockchain, a digital ledger distributed across thousands of computers around the world. Each block in this chain is filled with transactions, and everyone can see them. This makes it nearly impossible to cheat or double spend, because every transaction is verified by the network. But here's the surprising part. Bitcoin isn't just about money. It started as a decentralized currency designed to allow anyone to send value directly to anyone else without needing a bank in between. It's like if you could send a letter across borders instantly, with no one but the recipients knowing what was inside, and it couldn't get lost or altered. So, why is Bitcoin worth so much? Because of its unique properties, security, transparency, and decentralization. These make it incredibly valuable for people who want to transact freely without relying on traditional financial systems. And that's not all. As more people trust in the system, the value grows, creating a positive feedback loop. By understanding how Bitcoin works, you're one step closer to grasping why this digital treasure chest has captured the imagination of so many around the world. So, you wondering what exactly Bitcoin is? Well, imagine if gold wasn't stored in a vault, but existed as lines and numbers on your computer. That's kind of how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin started out as an idea to create a decentralized digital currency that could be sent directly from one person to another without going through a bank or a government. It's like having a digital piggy bank that lives inside your computer or phone, but instead of just holding regular money, it holds pieces of cryptocurrency called Bitcoins. And here's the surprising part. All these transactions are recorded in something called the blockchain. Think of the blockchain as an enormous public ledger, kind of like a big, constantly updated spreadsheet where every single Bitcoin transaction is logged. Everyone can see this ledger, but they don't have to know who owns which B. So, we've talked about what Bitcoin is, a digital currency. But how does it actually work? Well, let's dive into the blockchain, the technology that makes all of this possible. Imagine you have a diary where everyone can write down their transactions, but no single person controls it. That's kind of like a blockchain. Here's how it works. First, every transaction done with Bitcoin is recorded on what we call blocks. These blocks are then linked together in a chain, hence the term blockchain. This means that once something is written down, it can never be erased or altered. Now, think about this diary as being shared among everyone who owns a copy of it. So, if you're doing a transaction with Bitcoin, it's like marking your entry in the diary. But here's the catch. Everyone else has to agree that the entry is correct before it gets added to the chain. This agreement process is called consensus. And because this diary isn't stored in one place, but distributed among many people, no single person or entity can cheat the system by changing what was written. It's like having a giant spreadsheet that nobody owns, but everyone has access to and contributes to. This decentralized nature of the blockchain gives Bitcoin its trust without needing a central authority. In traditional banking, you need a bank to verify your transactions. But with Bitcoin, the network itself verifies everything. This is why it's considered more secure and less susceptible to fraud. So, you've got this decentralized trust system called Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about how transactions actually work. You want to send some Bitcoin? Good news. Every time someone wants to do that, their transaction gets broadcasted out into the world like a message in a bottle. Picture it as a game of telephone, but instead of whispers, we're talking about Bitcoin transactions. Imagine you and your friends are playing this game. Each person has a copy of the current rules, the blockchain, and everyone is listening for these messages. When someone wants to send some Bitcoin, they shout out their transaction details to the whole group. And here's the surprising part. Every participant in the network listens to the message and checks if it follows the rules. Do they have enough Bitcoin to send? Does everything add up correctly? If everyone agrees that the transaction is valid according to the blockchain's rules, then a new entry gets added to the ledger. Think of it like adding a new chapter to a storybook. Each page, or block, in the book has its own set of events, transactions, and only when everyone agrees that the story makes sense can you flip to the next page. This is how Bitcoin transactions get confirmed and added to the blockchain. Everyone plays an active role, making sure everything checks out. And here's the surprising part. These transactions need verification. That's where miners come in. They solve complex math problems to add a block to the chain, which is like getting a reward for their work. Now, imagine you're playing a game where everyone has to guess a specific number that no one knows yet. Only when someone guesses it correctly does a new level unlock. That's kind of what miners are doing, but instead of a game, they're verifying transactions on the blockchain. When a transaction happens, it gets added to a pending transactions list. Miners take turns solving these math problems to add a block of verified transactions to the chain. The first miner who finds a solution gets to add that block and earn some Bitcoins as a reward. It's like they're racing each other in this big global game. Here's how it works. Every 10 minutes or so, miners all over the world are competing to solve these problems. The problem is very hard, like trying to find a needle in an enormous haystack. Once someone finds the solution and adds the block, everyone else can see that it's correct because every new block confirms the previous ones. So why do they do this? Well, for the chance of winning those Bitcoins as rewards, but also because they help secure the network by verifying transactions. It's a bit like everyone pitching in to keep a really important book safe. No single person can alter it without being caught. By doing all this work, miners make sure that Bitcoin stays secure and reliable. And you know what? This process is exactly why we trust Bitcoin so much. It's protected not by a central authority, but by the collective effort of its community. So, you see, Bitcoin isn't magic. It's just a clever system of trust and verification. And that's why people are willing to pay so much for it. Let's break down exactly how it works. 1. Bitcoin isn't magic. Imagine you have a special diary where every single page is blank at first, but gets filled in by its users. Let's call this the blockchain. Anyone can write in this diary, but no one can erase or change what was written before because everyone has a copy of it. Every entry represents a transaction. Who sent how much to whom? 2. Transactions and blocks. Every time someone makes a Bitcoin transaction, it's like writing in that diary. These entries are bundled together into something called blocks. And just like how you might have several pages in your diary before closing the book for the day, these blocks get added one by one to form this huge chain of transactions. 3. Miners, the power behind Bitcoin. But what makes all this work? Well, miners are like proofreaders and stamping machines combined. They take these blocks and use powerful computers to verify the transactions and solve complex math problems. When they succeed, a new block gets added to the chain, and they get rewarded with some newly minted Bitcoins as a thank you, like getting a gold star in school. 4. Trust through verification. Here's where the magic happens. Because everyone has a copy of the blockchain and can see all these transactions, no one can cheat or double spend their coins. It's like having an immutable record that everyone agrees on, which gives us trust without needing a central authority. 5. People pay so much for it. That's why people are willing to pay so much for Bitcoin, because it represents this groundbreaking technology of decentralized trust. Even though the blockchain is just data and electricity, its potential to transform many aspects of our lives makes it valuable. Now that we've uncovered the mystery, do you want to learn more about this fascinating world? Subscribe if you're ready to dive deeper into the exciting realm of cryptocurrencies.